I just made a video on LaserDisc, but I never got to mess around with the LaserBarcode feature of the player. I purchased it, but the seller ended up losing it. So I barely touched on it, but now I actually have the scanner. Super quick recap, LaserDisc is an analog video format that came out around the same time as VHS, but with the quality and some of the features of DVD. It was way ahead of its time. I recommend watching my LaserDisc video. It was a really interesting one, and it has some context for this video. Alright, now on to the scanner. This is the UC-V109BC, a Pioneer barcode reader for CD and Laserdisc players. On the front, it has the old Pioneer logo, along with the model number, and 8 buttons for various controls like play, pause, fast forward and back, frame by frame stepping forward and back, and chapter skipping. On the top is a 3.5mm headphone jack and a loop for a strap or lanyard. And the back just has some registry markings along with the LaserBarcode 2 and Barcode CD logos. There's a battery cover that was actually hard to get off that reveals 3 AAA batteries, and this was made in Japan. On the top is a blue button labeled Read, a red send/repeat button, and a red LED light. And the whole thing comes to a tiny point at the front. The unit itself is pretty small and is shaped like this because it's meant to be held like a pencil. What's the whole point of having a barcode reader? Well, here's a product information bulletin that goes into more detail, source in the description. I'm not going to read it word for word, but it talks about how a barcode is an easy way to search to a specific disk location or to play certain segments of a disk. You can scan the barcode and it tells the player exactly what to do. It seems like it's aimed toward educators and trainers, because it explicitly says that, so that they can show certain slides on a lecture and play video clips and stuff. It says that barcode creation software can make barcodes that go along with the order that you want to teach. I could see that being really helpful. You can load in a LaserDisc and you can have a mix of slides and video clips for the whole class. With up to 54,000 individual frames on a CAV disc, that's a lot of potential. Okay, now for the actual scanner. After putting some batteries in, nothing happens. There's no on or off switch. But if I press the blue read button, this tiny little red light comes out of the tip of the reader. Now I need some actual barcodes. It didn't take too long to find a good barcode sheet. I just searched Pioneer LaserBarcode sample barcodes, and the Laserdisc database website comes up. Gee, those guys are nice. This sample sheet has a ton of barcodes. I got the player hooked up and plugged in a standard 3.5mm aux cable from the scanner to the player, and it looks like there's another port on the back that acts like a pass-through. I don't know if you're chaining multiple of these together or what. Now it's time to start scanning some barcodes. I actually had no idea how to do that. At first, I was thinking it's like a normal barcode scanner where you hold it away from the barcode so it sees the whole thing at once and can just read it. But that little red light was so weak that I thought I was either doing it wrong or that the scanner was broken. I pulled up another guide on the LDDB that talked about how to use Pioneer barcode readers. It said to start scanning in the white space beside the barcode and then move it horizontally across the barcode at a constant speed. So I moved in a little closer and tried it, but that didn't work either. And then I realized you actually push it against the page like a pencil, and then you move it across. But it still wasn't scanning. So I messed around with it some more. Turns out you have to move it a lot faster, and then it can read it, and it'll even beep to let you know that it worked. You can actually read it from left to right, or right to left, whatever you want. And yeah, after moving it faster, it successfully scans the barcode and beeps, and then that red LED light comes on top of the scanner. And if we look at the player's output, sure enough, it's starting to play. Let's mess around with some other barcodes. By the way, I'm going to be doing that Laser Vision demo disc from my other video. It's a CAV disc, which will allow for some cool features. Okay, so let's demo this real quick. I have just a monitor set up here that's showing the LaserDisc output. Then I have the actual barcode scanner here wired in. So let's just do play real quick. And now it's starting to play. There we go. Look at that LaserDisc or Laser Vision demonstration. So I don't have audio like capture right now, but I can go audio on and off, stuff like that, and it'll do that. You can do video off, which literally just blanks the screen but keeps it playing and the audio playing. Pause is pause, and then you can go back to play. Oh, is it gonna do it? There we go. Just have to scan it again, which is weird. And then let's do step forward. Okay, so there we go. Now it's every time I scan that barcode, it steps forward. And look how good that image is. That's a still image. Step reverse. It goes back a frame. Reject slash spin down. I'm not going to do that, but that'll just stop playing. Frame search. So let's do that. That's going to take us to frame 1000. It's so cool. I mean, look at that image too. I'm just impressed by laserdisc quality, but it's cool that I can just scan this and you don't have to know what's going on behind the scenes. All you know is this is exactly the frame I need, or this is the exact image I need. And then I can go back to my step forward, and this is the next frame in there. Or step reverse. Just like that. Let's go chapter search. So this is going to chapter 2 now. Let's do time search. What's interesting is on there, it's showing that it went to frame 3456 instead of skipping to that time. So I don't know. Oh, it says time search CLV. So it only works on CLV discs. You don't have time on CAV, I guess. But it just goes to that frame instead. Let's do frame segment play. Come on. Jeez. It's a big barcode. So it's going to go analog audio stereo on, and it's going to go from frame 1000 to 2000. Or sorry, yeah, frame 1000 to 1200. So it only does 200, and then it just stops right there, which is actually cool, and that's a perfect stop frame. Let's do the next one is chapter 2 to chapter 5. I'm not going to do that because that's a long time. And then time segment play is for CLV, but it'll do like a 10-minute play. And then special effects segment. So this says play from frame 4000 to 5000 at speed 2. It's a big barcode. Oh, it got it. Look at that. So now it's playing those frames at like half speed. And that's about it. I can do slow reverse at different speeds. So I can go even slower than that. Which that's 1 frame. That's the next frame. Very slow. I can do the same. It's not getting the slow forward 1 barcode. It got slow forward 3. There we go. Slow forward 1. Okay. And then there's also digital audio options and stuff. Oh yeah, and all the buttons work too. Pause still just blanks the screen, which was described as a squelch screen in the manual. I've never heard anyone call it that, but it's technically correct. The scan buttons play a few frames, and then they skip a few hundred frames, and then play a few more consecutive frames. It's basically like fast forward. Skip just jumps to the next chapter, as expected. And step is one of the cool features of Laserdisc. It holds on to that frame exactly, and then you can move forward or backward by 1 frame at a time. Again, this is an analog format, so VHS couldn't do this, but Laserdisc could. And now for something I didn't realize, this also goes wireless. I read this in one of the manuals, but I didn't expect it to work with my unit. Sure enough, after unplugging the cable from both the scanner and the player, I can press buttons and it does things. As far as scanning goes, after you scan the barcode, it still beeps and the red light comes on, and that red light is actually to indicate that it's holding the last command in memory. It'll do that for about 60 seconds according to the manual. Then you press send/repeat and it'll send it to the player. It says you can point either end at the player and it'll work up to 23 feet away with fresh batteries. That is nice because you don't want to have to run a long cable across the room. And this is just using basic infrared. There's a diode above that loop on the back, and on the front there's a diode by the tip. Now I tried making some barcodes, but I just couldn't get it to work. I got the numbers from the original barcode and modified it and printed it out, and it wouldn't even scan. I want to get my hands on the barcode creation software, but there's no mention of this on the Internet Archive. And the only place that seems to have it is a website called GeoDataSys. It's $20 and it gets mailed to you on a floppy. So if this video gets enough interest, I might do it. Let me know in the comments if you're really interested in it. I can actually see a use for this barcode technology. I think it's really cool that Pioneer put so much effort into making it more than just a movie format. Using this for education would be really cool. That's about it for this video. Thank you to my Patreon members. These 5 are seriously awesome for supporting me while I grow this channel. If you want to become a member, I'll link it in the description. I would really appreciate the support, and you get some extra benefits. Thank you for watching.